Chapter 6. Daily Life. For most English teenagers, daily life is mainly about school. Education is free for all children aged 5 to 16. It is also compulsory. Everyone must have an education. As well as state schools, which are run by the government, there are also independent schools, which families have to pay for. About 6% of children in England go to independent schools. Some families also homeschool. They teach their children at home. Children start their compulsory education in primary school when they are 4 or 5 years old, and at age 11 they move to secondary school. The school year is from September to July, with 2-week holidays at Christmas and in the spring, and a longer 6-week holiday in the summer. Between each of these holidays, there is a 1-week break called half-term, so the school year has got 3 terms. Most state schools follow the national curriculum, which tells teachers what subjects to teach. At the end of Year 11, when students are about 16, they take exams called GCSEs in many different subjects. Some of these subjects, such as maths and English, are compulsory, but students can also choose some subjects. After their exams, some students leave education, and others go to technical colleges, where they learn how to do the jobs they are interested in. Others stay at school and study for 1 or 2 more years to do exams called AS levels and A levels, this time in only 3 or 4 subjects. Some students who do well in their A levels will go on to study at university for another 3 to 6 years. Most jobs in England today are in the service industry, in places like hotels, restaurants, shops, computer companies and banks. Many English people work very hard. The working day is usually from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock, with an hour at lunchtime, 5 days a week, but often people work much longer hours. It can be very difficult for young people to find a job, even if they have studied at university. Some do more training, learning how to do new things. Others take unpaid work, so they can get experience. In the evenings and at the weekends, many English people enjoy watching or playing sport, watching TV, playing computer games, or reading books or newspapers. Sometimes they go out to the cinema, or to a restaurant, or to see their favorite band play music. Sometimes they just go shopping or spend time with their friends. Children and teenagers often go to weekly clubs. For example, Scouts, martial arts, dance, drama or music. Most teenagers also have a mobile phone, so that they can talk to their friends or send them text messages, and an MP3 player for listening to music. There are lots of things to do at the weekends and on holidays in England. Many families go out together to museums, beaches or theme parks, or for walks or cycle rides in the countryside. People also invite friends to their houses for meals, a cup of tea, or to watch a sports match on TV. Life in England is very different if you live in the city or in the countryside. In the city, public transport is usually very good, and there are many buses and trains. London also has an underground train system called the Tube, and you can travel around Manchester by tram. But in the countryside, people often have to walk and drive a lot. Most people who live in cities have homes in the suburbs, the areas around a city. Cities often also have big estates. These are places built mainly for people to live in, with lots of houses or flats, and usually some shops and a park. There are lots of different kinds of homes for people to live in England. Some houses are more than 600 years old. Others are very modern. Some people live in houses with several different rooms and a garden. Others live in small apartments called flats. In the past, people in England used to buy their own homes, but houses and flats have now become very expensive. For young people with little money, it is now very difficult to buy a home, and more people now rent. They pay money to someone to live in their house or flat. Most English people usually eat at home because eating out, eating in a restaurant or cafe, is expensive. Breakfast is often toast or cereal, and while some people have a big meal at midday, others just have a sandwich for lunch and then eat their main meal in the evening. This meal can be called supper, dinner, or tea. But for some families, tea is a cup of tea with a biscuit or a piece of cake. Many people now buy their food and all the other shopping they need from big supermarkets, which are on the outside of almost every town and city. These supermarkets are often open all day and in the evening, and some now stay open all night too. Other shops usually open at 9 o'clock and close at 5:30 or 6, with shorter opening hours on Sundays. Life in England is busier than ever today. Travel around any English city at rush hour, when people are going to or from work, and it seems that no one has time for anything. But over a morning coffee or the important afternoon cup of tea, most English people can always find the time to talk about sport or the weather, or think of something to laugh about.